Hello students, welcome back to the English class of Standard 9. We are doing 1.2, lesson 1.2, a synopsis, the Swiss family Robinson. We seen in the last lesson we were seeing, and I ended by saying that you all should know how to give some personal response also. So that is why I'll just ask one question was over there, that do the changes in the family's residence remind you of the history of man's evolution, and how? Do you remember the history of man's revolution? We've seen the Robinsons. What did they do? They first made just a makeshift house, a tent with just grass down. Then mother thought they should go to a better place and a safer place. So they went and they built a house with a lot of working mathematics to see the height and everything, and they seen the good tree and they built a house on a tree top. After that, they thought they need to they thought about winter. They said that now winter is also coming by and we need to keep ourselves warm. We have to protect ourselves, our things and everything from the snowfall. And so they started looking for a better place and got an idea of living in a cave. And when they didn't find a cave, they made their own cave by carving out the rock and making a cave. And after that, now we ended over there where all their campsite was destroyed by the herd of elephants. By a herd of elephants, the campsite was destroyed, the huts were destroyed, their farms were destroyed, their fields were destroyed. So this is where we seen. But how they kept on changing, does it remind you of the history of man's evolution, the Stone Age period? Doesn't it? Yes, it does. And how man started learning. You know how man, he first from an ape, then to the different, the Homo erectus, the Homo sapien, you know how he learned to make his tools. Everything he learned from experience, man, the Stone Age man. He evolved and became better and better in everything. He invented different things. He invented fire, invented the wheel, invented pots and pans and so many things. How the tools, how did he develop all these things? Through experience, through learning things. What was better? Okay, let's do this. Now this is not good for us, we need something better, and that's how they started. Then they said that we need settlement, so they started settling, and where do we settle? We cannot move here and there. That is what the Stone Age man thought. First he was living a nomadic life, a life of a wanderer, moving from one place to another. Wherever food and water was available, they used to stay there, then move ahead. Then gradually he learnt agriculture, farming, taking care of animals. He learnt animal husbandry. He learnt all these things, and gradually they formed settlements. They started living. Then he started making different types of houses. Their houses. Today the modern age man, what type of houses we live in and how it first started. Doesn't it give the same thing, the same idea don't we get from this lesson over here? It shows that, what is it? There is a saying called invention. How do we invent? Necessity is the main thing of invention, the inspiration of mother of invention. Necessity is the mother of invention, because when you need something, you're going to invent something new. That is how it goes on. Necessity is the mother of invention. That is one proverb. And this lesson shows us how it has developed from living in a tent, now then to the third residence, which was on a cave. Now yet they are going to change residences. We'll see the next thing. We'll start reading now. The next morning, Page number 8, we are on page number 8, the last paragraph. Remember, we ended at belonging to an elephant herd. We ended over there, the last paragraph on page number 8. The next morning, the family began to design a new defense to discourage all wild animals from entering their cultivated land. So now they had to defend them. So new mechanism, new way of how to discourage the animals from entering their lands. They also finalized their idea about the new residence. Rather than building a house on stilts which the elephants could knock down easily, they would use 4 strong trees growing in a square near one another as the foundation. The trees were of equal size, approximately 12 feet apart. Thus, they built another safe house. So now they thought, now building it on a stilt, by making a stilt on a tree top and making a house on that. So they thought it is better they make something which the animals cannot knock it down. And so they thought of looking for 4 trees to make a square. 4 trees to make a square. So they made a square, and these became like the foundation pillars. What we in today's RCC construction, in the buildings and all, you see those pillars are very important. Then the walls are made. First the pillars are made, you see on the construction site. So this is how they also thought of first having these, looking out for trees. Again over here geometry comes in, where they had to see where they had to be equidistant from each other. They were 12 feet apart. They had to be equidistant from each other, and they had to also be of equal size. So this is how they thought, and they built their 4th residence. So this is how time passed for them. 10 years passed, and the young boys were now young men. So these boys, remember the names of the boys? Let's recall: Fritz, Ernest, Jack and Franz. The 4 boys now had grown up and become young men, and their parents were very proud. They called the island New Switzerland. Many adventures occurred over the years. So there are many adventures. If you read the novel, you will find more adventures over here. But we are only seeing the synopsis. We can't go into the depths of each and every adventure the Swiss family had experienced during their stay on this island. And they gave it a name also. Switzerland was there, but now they named it the New Switzerland. They named the island New Switzerland. Now one day what happened? A little climax of the story. Now there is, a bit of the adventures has been written, but now what changed a little bit, that has to come. So some exciting event has to take place. This exciting event is called the climax of the story. Any exciting event that happens in the story is called the climax of the story. It goes towards the end. As we go towards the end, we reach to some event that takes place, an interesting event that takes place, which brings a turn into the story. It changes the sequence of the story. So till now everything was going on smoothly, where there were adventures going on. The way they went, they looked out, they explored the forest, they found trees, they found fruits, they made use of everything. All these were going on, but now something exciting is going to happen, and so we are going to reaching to the climax of the story. So let us read what is the climax of the story. On the shore of another island, there was another island close by. Fritz had knocked down an albatross, a bird, a large long-winged seabird. A seabird had come over there and he had knocked it, which was threatening to attack him. It was threatening to attack him, and then there he found a rag tied to the large bird's leg. So what did he find over there? He found a tag. On There was a rag, there was an old cloth, rag was there, and on that rag there was a message. There was a rag over there. On the rag was a message that an English woman had been stranded on the smoking rock. On the rag was a message that an English woman had been stranded on the smoking rock. Stranded means left alone without any ways to come out. Stuck up, stranded, got stuck up, didn't know how to come out. She was stuck up over there. She was stranded over there, like you get stranded on the airport when the flight is delayed. So you get stranded, you get stuck up over there. Due to heavy rain, some people were stranded on the highway. Due to the cyclone, people were stranded on the highway, that we hear as the headline. So stranded means stuck up. So he was on the smoking rock. Fritz had no idea how old the message was, because the bird had come so many years, 10 years, they had not seen anything, and now suddenly there is this bird, and on the bird there is an old cloth tied to the bird's leg, and on that it is written that there is an English woman who's got stranded on which rock? On the smoking rock. So he didn't know how old it could be. It could have just been tied over there, and that bird one day has come flying, didn't know where exactly it came from also. But his father suggested that smoking rock sounded like a reference to a volcano. Why do you think smoking rock sounded like a reference to a volcano? You all know what a volcano is, right? They will get eruptions of lava, hot lava and all, it comes out, and whenever it comes out, it becomes it emits smoke. So this smoke, that is why he said it could be a rock, it could be a hill or a mountain which could be volcanic. Since there were no volcanoes in the vicinity, the bird might have come from hundreds of miles away. So the father said that maybe this bird is not from here, because it looks like smoking rock, sounds like it's a volcanic place. So, but in that area they were there for almost 10 years. They had not come across any volcanic eruption or any volcano. So they thought that this could not be somewhere close by. It is somewhere far away, almost 400 miles away. However, but Fritz was very adventurous, and he was determined to do what he would. Now he had that determination, no, I must do something. There is this English woman who's got stuck up somewhere, she's stranded somewhere, I must help. So however, Fritz felt that someone needed his help. He was determined to go and help, and he was determined to do his best to find the sender. So he was determined, he had made up his mind that he will do it, and he will go and look for the woman who is stranded on this rock, wherever she is. Before returning home, he had written his own note on the rag. So before coming home, on the same rag, he wrote another thing, a note, and retied it to the albatross's leg, and had watched the bird fly off. So why do you think he was looking at the bird fly off? He tied the rag, and before going back home, and he had seen which direction the bird is flying off. Of course, to know where he has to start from, how his search should begin. So he would also go in the same direction looking for the woman. And on the note, the note told whoever received it, do not despair, help is near. Do not despair, do not be afraid, do not be sad. We are coming to help, help is near. Fritz then successfully rescued the young woman, Jenny Montrose. So here we have another character who's come into the story, Jenny Montrose, the English woman who was saved by Fritz, the eldest son of the Robinson family. Though shy at first, soon she got used to living with the Robinson family. So that is the climax now here. They met one more person, and this person has become another family member, and now there is going to be a little more further change because of the entry of Jenny Montrose in the story. Because of the entry of Jenny Montrose in the story, there were new developments which will be taking place, which is like the climax of the story. One day they saw a ship which had laid anchor. So somewhere far they seen one ship which had laid anchor. Laying the anchor, you throw that anchor, you know what an anchor, it is kind of like this, and when you have to make a ship stay at a place, you have to throw the anchor. This anchor goes and settles into the seabed, and the ship then is in one place, does not move. So they had anchor, laid anchor, and an encampment had been set up on one of the smaller islands. After checking the people through their spyglass, Fritz and his father decided to announce themselves after they had returned home and cleaned it up. So first they seen it, but did they think like immediately go? No. Why do you think they didn't go immediately? They watched through their spyglass, through their small little telescope to see who all they are, what were their actions, what were they doing. They kept an eye on them. They kept watching them. Why didn't they directly go and tell, okay, we are here, we are stranded or in this, marooned on this island for a long period, almost more than 10 years. Why didn't they go immediately? Of course, with a fear that who these people are. What are they? Are they some people who have come over there to attack? So they had all the fear. So they needed to first make sure, confirm whether everything is safe and it is safe to go and meet these people. So then after keeping a watch on them, they decided to announce themselves, go and declare that yes, we are here, to tell them after they had returned home and cleaned it up. So, but they were gentlemen, they were not savages. They were gentlemen. They didn't want them to see how they don't live in a clean way. So first they went and they cleaned their place, tidied up everything, just like how we would do if we know some guest is coming or we are inviting somebody. What will we do? First we will clean our house, because we don't want our guests to know anything that we are not good people or we are untidy, shabby people. We don't know how to keep ourselves clean and tidy. So we first will clean up our place. Similarly, these people also, the Robinsons, before they could announce themselves, go and declare themselves over there, they thought we should first clean our place. They went and cleaned up. They did not want the crew to think they were savages. As I told you, they did not want the crew, the people on that ship, to think that they were savages, uncivilized. Savages means uncivilized, not like normal civilized human being. Uncivilized people who do not know good manners, are very lacking good behavior. So they didn't want to show them that they are savages, they are living like that. So they went and they cleaned. The next day, Fritz and his father met the captain and told him their own history as well as Jenny's. So next day they went and they met the captain of the ship and they told them who they were, and they told their whole story, like how they landed up on that island, how they survived on that island, lived on that island for more than 10 years, and how they found Jenny also, a new member, and how they brought her over here and how she also came and became a part of their family. That is what they started mentioning. To everyone's surprise, so here the climax is, what happened? To everyone's surprise, it had been Jenny's father who had inspired the captain's search. He believed his daughter was still alive after 3 years. The captain had decided to attempt to find her. So when Jenny was lost 3 years ago, and so we have not gone into the details of Jenny's story, we can read that in the, if you are really interested, you should read it from the novel. So now Jenny was lost 3 years ago, and so the father was very still had not given up the search, and he inspired this captain to go and look for Jenny, and the captain had come actually specially in search of Jenny with a burst of celebration. So this is the climax. A ship has come, ultimately another set of human beings have come because of one person coming into it. Now they found another set of people, human beings who have come in search of Jenny. This is the climax of the story. With a burst of celebration, the family, passengers and crew of the British vessel headed towards New Switzerland. Everyone was amazed by the prosperity and good health of the survivors. They came and they were really amazed to see what a wonderful job these people were doing. Such lovely fields and their houses, they looked so healthy. Mother grew such lovely plants. They were living a very good life on this island which they had named New Switzerland. As the day ended, the father realized that decisions must be made about who wanted to stay on the island or return with the ship. So now it was the time when father thought that he has kept his children for so long with him. He did not try to go back. He did not make an attempt. He was quite happy and satisfied and contented with his life over there. And he also made the children stay with him. But now he knew his children have grown up, and just like how every parent allows their children to take their own decisions as they grow, what they want to do, what they want to pursue, do they want to go in for engineering or become a doctor or go into some other field, singing, dancing or whatever it is. So parents always give an opportunity to their children to decide what they want to do in their life, and this was the point when this ship had come. It would return back. So now here the father thought it was time to ask the children who had already grown up into young men, what do they want to do? Would they like to continue staying on the island, or would they like to go? Each one had their own freedom of making decisions. Must be made about who wanted to stay on the island or return with the ship. Elizabeth and her husband did not wish to live anywhere but on the island. So Elizabeth and William had made up their mind that they are not going to leave the island. They loved the island, they loved the way they had developed it, so they didn't want to leave the island. They had been there for so long and had grown used to their life. They had got accustomed to the life on the island, and they really didn't want to go now anywhere else. Jenny asked if anyone would support her return to England, but Jenny really wanted to go back to her father. So she asked the young men, out of those 4 men, who would support her idea of going back to England. And of course, you all must have guessed who saved Jenny? Fritz. So Fritz was the first to respond. He offered cheers for us who were going to Europe. So he said cheers, when they are agree to something, the Western culture, to raise their glasses and say cheers, yes, I am ready. So he offered a cheers to us, for those who are going to Europe. So he was ready to go. Ernest, on the other hand, the second one, on the other hand, wanted to stay on the island. Jack also decided to stay back. So Ernest and Jack stayed back, and Franz, the youngest boy, decided to join Fritz in leaving. Franz wanted a chance to receive an academic education. So I told you, all this while they were just studying whatever the father was teaching them. But Franz was interested in learning new things. He wanted to actually go to a school, college and study, get formal education. So he wanted to go and learn, join some college. So he decided to go along with Ernest and Jenny. So before Fritz left, he told his parent of his love for Jenny and his wish to marry her. This was obvious in the story that Fritz saved Jenny and Fritz fell in love with Jenny, and now Fritz opened up to his parents and said, I I am in love with Jenny and would like to get married to Jenny. And of course, the parents must have approved of this marriage. And so, Jenny and Fritz decided to get married, and Franz decided to leave with them for further education. Frank and Ernest and Jack decided to stay back with the parents, and parents were also so used, they also wanted to stay back. The father had kept a record of all the adventures they had on the island. He handed over the journals to the captain to be published. Then the ship departed. So the climax, you see, when Jenny came, they decided, everything changed. Jenny came, and after Jenny came, they had a little bit of excitement in their life. But somebody else came in search of Jenny, and this ship coming became like a climax where the father gave them the decision to decide where they would go, and all of them had the liberty to decide what they wanted. That is what parents of today also give their freedom to their children to decide what they want. Children, there are a few compound words in this. I just go through them. There are like compound words are words, two words joined together. I would like you all to look into the book and look out for compound words. You have arm plus load. Arm, you know, and load is something heavy that you pick up, but together it becomes arm loads. So here you have a word, arm loads. Such words where two different words are put together, they are known as compound words. So before we come for the next lesson, I want you to look out for more compound words and find their meanings. From this lesson, look out for more compound words. You have this on page number 10 in your workshop. Question number 1, I want you all to solve it. Thank you, children.